Well, good evening once again. You're tuned in to the video call-in channel. We we're only on our second show, but we're having a lot of fun. Listen, again, I know it's only been two shows, but something funny happened over the last 24 hours. I got to watch myself on camera. Now, I don't know if you've ever done that before, but it's really eye-opening. It truly is. I literally couldn't believe how it came across. But that's true for most of us. Most of us don't like the sound of our own voice, and and I am no exception to that. Real obviously. So I thought, since I know we're waiting to attain an audience, that I would go over some things that I discovered last night when I went live for the first time with a show. And like I said, it's eye opening. It really truly is, and you don't even realize it until you're able to watch yourself. And even now, I can feel myself doing the exact same things I was doing before. I don't know how to stop. Okay, so the one thing I noticed, and this is by far the most noticeable, I'd say, other than my obvious stammering now. But I move my eyes so much when I talk, and I know that's not uncommon. But I'm here doing a show, and I want to talk to you, especially when I get guests on the show. Which, by the way, you can join anytime you'd like. Just visit zoom.us, click the join a meeting, and then use this ID number at the bottom of the screen. And we'll try to get somebody on. Really like to get somebody on for our pilot program, and I'll tell you why. That is because I've tested it out, but it's been an internal test. So I've got audio issues that I want to iron out. It seems like it's never the same way twice. So anyway, back to the wow, I just did something else that I noticed I was doing last night a great deal. And I might as well just use that one. I ramble. I have a tendency to get way off point. I don't know why I get off point, but I do. I start with a point. I get off point. Now, I do get back to that point, but not consistently. At any rate, I'm going to try to work on that. The other thing is, and this is something that I can just feel myself doing. Now, granted, I'm doing a whole lot of things since I'm a one-man band here. At the same time, I'm having to switch live. I'm reading. I'm watching the stream. I'm trying to talk to you, and I'm trying to vape. I'm trying to drink. This isn't the weekend yet. Give me a couple more days, and we'll have some fun over the weekend. But I'm looking everywhere. And that just, as I was watching myself, I just did it again. I look off into the distance, whatever else is in the room, I tend to look at, and really what I need to do is focus on the camera, which is you, by the way. And so I'm working on that as well. Now, see, I got to look away to read my notes here. I found that I have a really weird habit of floating my eyes. It's like rolling your eyes without actually rolling them. So, how am I doing that? I can't do it on purpose. Isn't that strange? But it is kind of a weird thing that you tend to notice. It's kind of like when you're listening to yourself and you hear yourself do a lot of ums, that sort of thing. Or, perfect example, I just did a A lot of people will use that at the end of just about every one of their sentences. Now, I had a problem with that when I was much younger, but I got over that because I recognized it. And that's part of the thing. When you're actually watching yourself on video, you tend to see what you're doing wrong. And it makes you self-conscious, but not so much that it's not, it's not something you can't overcome. like right now, I'm trying really, really hard to pay more attention to the camera because I know that's where, you're listening to me, whether we're live or which we are right now, but or it could be a taped episode, or of course, post live show. This will become just another piece of history, as it were, and I think it's really important that you address your audience, and that is probably one of the reasons. I don't if you didn't watch last night's show. Now it was an hour long, so it was pretty intense. But and well, I wouldn't even say intense. It was just me rambling on because I had no idea that I was rambling. But it was an eye opener for me, in that I got to see all those small things that I was doing that kind of detracted from my basic message, and I get why now a whole lot of people have trouble in front of a camera. And I should know that anyway, because I've been coaching people on camera forever. But it's real easy to say or tell someone to do something, much easier than it is to do yourself. So the other thing that I found that was a problem last night was I was somewhat monotone, and that was probably first live show jitters, if you will, and I had a whole lot to say about nothing. I didn't know how long I was going to be on or how long I should be on, so I ended up being almost an hour show, and I gave you a little bit of background about me and about why I decided to do this and why it made sense for me to do it. See, there I did it again. I went off rambling about a subject matter, and I'm still looking around. It's so funny because once you're aware of it and you catch yourself doing it, it's almost impossible to stop without vapor locking your. In fact, when you hear me stop talking for a little bit, that's exactly why. Is because I'm thinking so hard about the other aspects of how I'm coming across. So pay no attention to that. As I do this longer, I'm sure that will become less and less of an issue. So anyway, well, that actually brings up another good point. For these first few episodes, I really need to take it down and not. What I mean by that is maybe shorten the videos a bit, because I know I'm going to be talking to myself about a specific subject matter, and it until we get more traction and more people interested in what we're trying to do here. So you're going to hear a lot of me just bringing up a subject, talking about it, and saying everything I think I need to say about it to you, which you to me is a camera. So all I'm really doing is talking into the ether at the moment. When I have guests, then that's a different story, and I think you can. I think you get that. I think you know that when there are guests on here, that the conversation will flow. It's no different. Well, it's a little different than face to face, but it is really face to face, because now you've got a face to put on that voice or those words if we're talking about the written word. So I guess there's no lessons to be learned here. No, I take that back. There are a great many lessons to learn here. One is to take stock of how you come across, and I've got a great friend who does. She actually reads body language, and she will tell you how to approach certain situations, which I find fascinating. We all do it, but we just don't know why or how we're doing it. It's kind of like everyone says don't judge. Well, that's all we really do is judge. Yeah, every time we come in contact with another human being, that's all we're doing is judging. And the reason we do that is based in evolution. In other words, we have to take stock of our surroundings and any elements that are key to those surroundings, because they could very well be a danger to our survival. And the way the human race, well, actually any animal survives, is that they make sure that they can accurately assess those elements that are around them, and fight or flight, or just deal with it if it's neither one. And think about think about lions and birds drinking out of the same water hole in Africa. Well, normally that would be an extremely dangerous situation for the birds, but since they're all there for a specific function outside of food chain, then they just drink water. So, assessing your outward appearance is key when you're trying to get a point across. But that's not to say that you need to be overly critical. You are who you are, and one of the reasons I started this channel is because I wanted to bring people on to find out who they are. Again, I love talking to people. I like to hear their stories and to hear their, see, I'm doing the thing again, which is another one of my notes, and I tried to get off of it. And just because I said that, I'm rambling. Bear with me. I like to get to know them and find out what makes them tick, because that's how we actually end up improving ourselves, right? We learn from others' experiences, and I think that's critical in any mode of self-improvement. Self-reflection is part of that. I mean, you've always got to look inside and say, what can I do to be better? Or what did I do wrong in that situation? So that's really all I have to say about that. It's really an eye-opener to watch yourself, and it's just like listening to yourself for the first time on remember back in the day when we had tape. You just couldn't believe that that's how you sounded, and that's actually true today. A lot of that, I'm going to let you in a little secret. I was before I got into any sort of audio or video technology, I was basically just doing consumer electronics or broadcast television engineering. But you always carry that in the back of your mind when you listen to yourself for the first time on a tape recorder. You sound awful, and then of course you're continually berating yourself for sounding that bad, or what you assume is that bad. And it's not at all. It's not your fault, one. But I noticed that part of the problem, and nobody says this, I don't think I've heard anyone say this, so that part of the problem is the equipment that you heard yourself on. 9 times out of 10, it was something crappy. It's kind of like if you record yourself on your phone, play it back on that tiny little speaker. We all know what the tiny little speaker will not do. And then you think, my God, is that how I sound? Well, no. Put yourself in front of some good audio equipment, and I'm not talking about coloring your voice at all. I'm not talking about adding any wetness or effects. I'm just talking about set it up flat, but it's got to be a good mic. It's got to be good headphones. And when you hear yourself after that, I don't think you'll have the same impression that you had, that you did on that dime store cassette recorder or your phone's speaker. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I am somewhat of an audiophile, and I listen for things like that. So having been haunted for years after hearing myself on really bad equipment, I didn't want to do this at all. That, of course, has changed. But I don't know. May not always be that way. Of course, another thing that led to my desire to do this was that I love to sing. I'm in a couple of bands right now. Some rock, some Irish rock. We've done some '80s things as well, and and I never knew how much I enjoyed. And this sounds self-serving, but I never realized how much I enjoyed my own voice until I started listening to myself on good equipment, and it was incumbent upon me to actually supply that equipment, because most of the time it was a third party, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. So anyway, let's get back to the show. As you can see, this is how it works, right? You visit zoom.us, click on join a meeting. You enter the meeting ID that you can see right here on the screen. Oh, there we go. See, I'm going to get that down too. And then join either audio and video entirely. Choice is entirely up to you. And then I'll bring you on. Now, the reason I've got this on here is not because I'm begging for subscriptions, although I do want you to subscribe so you know when we go live, and you can join the show at your leisure. But more importantly, you can watch the show. And I think the overall reaching goal here is that I want to build a large enough audience, and to make it worth someone's while to come on. Let's say that they want to promote a website or their YouTube channel or their some of their social media properties. Well, if we, and I'm talking about you and me, if we build this audience, then we give them the platform to do just that. And I think what we're going to find is we're going to find some amazing diamonds in the rough, because the algorithm is only so good on any electronic platform or internet platform. I'll just generalize in that way. And not only that, but somebody who's creating some really compelling content, we might lose entirely because they're not sure how to put this nicely, optimize the other side of that. It's one thing to develop content, but it's another thing to make sure that people can see it. And if I can help that venture, then we're all richer for it. But that includes you. So that's why I need you to, click that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen there, down in the what does AVE call it, in the doobly-doo. And make sure that you click the bell, of course, the notification bell, so that you can be notified when I go live. But I also encourage you to come on the show now, even though we don't have an audience. I encourage that, because this is how I see it. I'm gonna do this. Here's the thing. I'm gonna do this at least every night, once a day. I'm going to do it many times throughout the day. In fact, I've got a couple planned for tomorrow. But I'm going to do this every single day until I grow an audience. And the reason, I don't care if it doesn't happen, but I'm determined to just be in front of you, talk about different subjects, and and until we gain an audience, because I think that that this is something unique. And if and it's one thing for do like a radio call-in show, it's an entirely different thing to actually allow people to come on full video, so we can see their face. And if you're afraid to show your face, you've got to get over that. You walk around on the street every single day with hundreds, if not thousands, of faces looking at your face. So this is no different. And I had to tell myself that when I decided to do this, and because I wanted to remain anonymous. I don't know why. In hindsight, it seems really silly, but I didn't want my face out there, and I thought after a while, I thought, well, why is that? It's like, well, most of us are private individuals, and that's fine. But listen, we're still public individuals as well. There's very few people out there. I wouldn't say very few, but there's a great deal of people out there that are in the public sphere without even knowing it. I mean, think about that for a minute. Anytime you go and talk about where it is that you work, you are the face of that organization. It could be your own organization. It could be you could be working for someone else. But as soon as you start talking about it, that's you are a promotional machine, right? It may not be B2C, but you could be talking to another business associate, and then those businesses can get together based on your conversation. So, so not wanting to be on camera is really kind of a not non sequitur. It's just not. It's nothing to worry about. It again, you're out there every day, and we even do stupid things every day. So here I am stammering along this because I don't write scripts. I'm not looking at a teleprompter. I'm winging this, and I wouldn't even consider myself a great ad-libist. Ad-libist? I'm going to talk to somebody who's not there. Is that a word? So, but but we all talk, and like I said, there's nothing to fear. So get yourself out there, especially if you've got something that you think is of interest to other people. Now on this show, we don't have to use your full name. If I would like first name or screen name even, if you want to remain that to that point, because I would like to make mention of you, at least in the description box or something like that, so I can point people toward whatever it was that you came on and were very, very excited or passionate about. But it doesn't have to happen. You could just come on and hell, ask me questions. Ask me why I keep looking off into that direction. I don't care. Ask me. Ask me why I'm wearing this hat. Ask me, why I chose the interface that we're looking at. Why I chose to do this at this point in my life. I'm no spring chicken, but it seems right to me. I'm really excited every time I get off of the program. Now, like it's been twice, but there have been several tests. And every time I get off the program, I think, wow, I just can't wait to do the next one. I can't wait to, even if I'm just talking to no one at the moment, I just can't wait to do the next one. So, so there is a drive to that, a drive that I don't know. I didn't really expect. I knew I wanted to create some content, and again, if you watched my first the first show, then you know that I'm kind of a technophobe, and I had all this equipment anyway. So I thought, well, why not make good use for it now? This could be horrible. I could get the hiccups, and now you have to join me and ask me why the hell I have hiccups. Do you want to talk about vaping? I know this is taboo to so many people, but it's really not. I used to sell these online back in around 2012. This one in particular is the Geek Vape Regis, and I think I mentioned a bit about this last night, but yeah, I dig my vape. I was a smoker for too damn long. Oh, jeez. I don't even want to think about that. But anyway, in about 9, 10 years ago, I was introduced to Ecigs, and it was it was the slender model, looked like a cigarette, and that's what everybody's doing is they're trying to well, back then they were trying to emulate cigarettes because when you're a smoker and you want to jump ship, you want to jump ship and think you're not jumping ship. So everybody made theirs to look like cigarettes, and that was all fine and good. But boy, looking back, they really sucked. They sucked balls. I hated them. But to that point, what really did it for me, and I hope we have a conversation about this with somebody here in the coming weeks. But what did it for me was I found the flavor that I really enjoyed, and it wasn't what you would think. It wasn't a tobacco sort of flavor. It was actually called Karma Sutra, and it was made by a company that I still buy e-juice from, which is Vapor Station, and I think I'm going to give them a shout out in the description box, because I don't vape that particular flavor anymore, but I love their San Francisco. It's kind of a nutty. This one has a little bit of tobacco undertones to it, but it's kind of a hazelnut vanilla with a tobacco layer to it, and I just love that stuff. But the Karma Sutra is what actually got me off of it, and I'm going to save that because I'd really like to devote several shows to vaping. It's something that's very important to me, even though my wife wants me to stop. But then again, we were both smokers back in the day. I started when I think I was 16, like an idiot. And but there's a good thing about that, and I'll without rambling, because that's what I tend to do. It reminds me of that Simpsons episode. Yeah, so I tied an onion to my belt, and so I won't ramble about that. But I want to save the vape discussion for another show, because I think it's very interesting, especially to me. I don't sell it anymore because government regulations became too high a hurdle to jack with, so I stopped selling it. It was a break even. So we'll talk about that in a future show. Coke ought to sponsor me. All right, so what did we learn here? Well, we learned that that I look around a lot as I look away, not enough into the camera. I have a weird habit of floating my eyes, and I wish I could describe that, but it looks like I'm rolling. I probably just did it right there. It looks like I'm rolling my eyes. I was somewhat monotone in that first one, and I wanted to change that up. In fact, I'm changing it right now. I also noticed that I went too long. I don't think that until we get enough traction, or I have some guests, I don't need to run an hour. So I'm going to try to limit it to about a half an hour each, and I'm coming up on that now. One, because it's tough to talk for an extended period of time without a script. It's I mean, you gotta think things to say. You're not getting a back and forth when you're just talking into the camera, which is why we all want guests. But it's really difficult to just yammer on. I know it doesn't sound difficult for me, but it is. It really is. Look around a lot, and of course, what's my other shortcoming here? I tend to get off topic, and I use a lot of uhs. I didn't write that down, but I have noticed that I do a lot of uhs. Gonna try to stop doing that. In fact, I just shit. Give me a little bit, and I'll knock it dead. So next time, I want to make sure that that you guys don't have to worry about that. We're not, this is not like broadcast television. We're not talking about you've got to perform, and you got to perform for a specific amount of time. That's not like this at all. In this format, which is miraculous in my estimation, because now not only can you, not when it's live, but go back and immediately edit whatever it was that you created in such a way that it's more pleasant. So any of the screw ups, I'm not going to edit out any of my screw ups. I don't want to do that. Not when I'm live. I will take clips out and do something with them. I don't know what yet, but you can go in and edit out and make use of whatever content was within that time frame. And we're not even limited to a time frame. That's arguably the best part. So I plan on doing more of these. So any of you watching, please hit that subscribe button, and the bell notifications, so you'll know when I go live. And come on in, jump on in. It's a great ship. May not be any viewers right now, but the longer I'm at this, surely the more viewers we'll get, and your content will live forever. So if you've got something to promote, or you want to talk about your website, or your Pinterest or your Instagram or any of that, come on the show and let's just chat about it. No pressure. There's no need to feel like you have to perform. I just want to have fun with it. So, all right. With that, I'll close out, and I wish you all well, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.